Now let's talk about the Mercury binnacle that's installed on the console. This Mercury throttle control has a lot to offer. There's a lot of features, so let me explain them to you. First and foremost are the throttle control handles. They control the three engines with the two handles. If you're running and push the port handle into forward, that will engage the port engine. You push the starboard handle into forward, that will engage both the starboard and center engines. The same is true for pushing the starboard handle forward first. Then when you push port, that'll engage port and center. Now, if you want to maneuver the boat by opposing the engines, the center engine will go to neutral. On the side of the port handle, we have a rocker switch that trims the engines up and down. One thing that's very important to remember is that the transom door needs to be closed before you trim the engine to the up position. You'll do damage to fiberglass, paint, and it's not a good thing if you trim the engines up with the door open. So please be sure it's closed. Another side note that I'll make is that I always like to look at the motors as they're being trimmed up. You never know if somebody's walking across the aft deck. They could get hurt if the engines run to the all the way up position. To trim the engines into the up position, you'll press the top of this rocker switch, and then to tuck them down again, you'll press the bottom of the rocker switch. You can control all three engines with that one rocker switch. You can also trim up the engines one at a time. There are three buttons on the front of the binnacle that allow this to happen. To do so, you'll select which engine you'd like to trim up and use the rocker switch that's on the front of the binnacle. Once the engine keys are turned on, you'll be able to start the engines using the binnacle controls. The easiest way to start your engines is to simply press the button that says Start Stop on the bottom of the port throttle handle control. You'll hear a beep, and then you'll hear the three engines start. There are also three buttons on the back side of the throttle control binnacle: port, center, and starboard. You can stop the engines by simply pressing the button on the bottom of the port handle of the throttle control, or you can press the three buttons that are beneath the screen on the back of the binnacle. There's a few more features on the side of the binnacle I'd like to tell you about. Starting with the forward set of buttons, the one that has the sunburst on it allows you to adjust the level of brightness for the control features. The next control button says one lever. If you press one lever, it energizes the system so that you can run the boat with just one lever as a throttle control. So you can put one back and then throttle the boat with the other handle. Works for both sides. The next button down is the transfer button. That transfer button allows you to use the joystick control that's in the aft cockpit. You'll press that and then press the one in the aft coaming twice, and that'll allow you to use the control in the stern. Throttle only, if you decided that you wanted to rev the engines up a little bit to charge batteries or whatever, just press that and then you're able to throttle the engines without having them in gear. Active trim. Once you've learned to use the boat, you can press the active trim button and use that so that your engines will trim themselves automatically while you're throttling up. I usually start with it in the center position, number 3. So you turn it on, and then you go to the third one down and see how that works for you. If you'd like to have the engines trim up a little more, you'll press it up to 4, and at the most you'll press it up to 5. The converse is true. The less you do, when you go down toward 1, the less the engines will trim. The binnacle also has a small LCD screen that allows you to use different functions as far as the history of the engines, you can go down to engine hours, see how many hours are on the engines. That's especially handy for service. You can also go to alarm history to see if you have any alarms. If you have a warning of some sort, you can press active alarm to see what you're at, what's the problem. And then you also have the settings. The settings are used for setup, so I'm not going to say that it's a good thing to start messing with the settings. They are set at the factory, and that's how the configuration is best accomplished. After you're through with the screen, simply press the button on the left side of the control, and that'll take you back to the screen that you'll run with.